Greetings, this is Celebration. My name is John Savers, I'm your host. Today we'll continue with our recent series, Jews and Their Culture. For those new to Celebration, this is a program which looks at peoples and their cultures and tries to form a better idea of what makes them tick. And as such, we do look at references, standard sources, as well as little-known sources. We try to look at authority, opinion within the group and without, and other peoples who may have something pertinent to say. We hope to, through all this, engage a population here and to perhaps better educate them in regard to the peoples, the culture, providing a more rounded picture. And this is our aim. And as such, of course, it is an educational pursuit. We hope to entertain and amuse along the way. And we do try to always provide facts and evidence which is credible. Now, in our last program, we took a look at the concept of Messiah. This is one of those ideas that is quite important in Jewry. We took a look at within that program at the Hasidic movement. We noted in passing false messiahs and such interesting aspects within Jewry as the superstitions which gained popularity, as well as the knowledge of the occult, which had also a more learned a group who became proficient and passed upon this knowledge. I think that Rabbi Luria is probably the most outstanding name. I believe that this particular group was most influential also in sort of bringing the occult, as it were, westward. And such figures as John Dee bringing it to England and the tie-in with Bacon and whatnot. But at any rate, it's more influential than folks really suppose. There's a tendency amongst sophisticated, well-educated people to dismiss this as a transient matter to be found mostly amongst the ignorant and so forth, sort of dismissing it out of hand. And although there is that element, there is also, I think, a deeper element which is connected to a very well-educated group who have become adepts at what might be called practical Kabbalah. At any rate, they have their own influence. I thought we might take a look at this to a certain extent within Jewry. Some of the causes and effects and so forth, something in this vein. So let's do that. Orthodox rabbis place curses, cast spells, and imagine they have powers greater than God, derived from their study of the Sefer Yezra'ah, a Kabbalistic magic. Other major Kabbalistic texts include the Sefer HaBahir and the Zahar, or Book of Splendor. The Sefer Yetzirah teaches the methods of fortune-telling, numerology, and astrology by means of contact with demons. This is a citation from Michael A. Hoffman II, Judaism's Strange Gods, pages 81-82. Well, people, this whole subject of demons is a little bit intriguing itself. In looking at this particular matter, well, you assume that rabbinic learning is based upon older text such as Jasher and Jubilee and Enoch and so forth, and that these are what are important here. But it must be said that there is some interesting buttressing of the idea that there were such things as angels who perhaps possessed of a material metabolism which was more advanced than humans, in some way glorified or in some way subject to their own volition, which allowed them to manifest themselves as humans or at will to dissolve that manifestation and to vanish. They could apparently move with the speed of time, go through materials, float, and so forth. So the angelic material and the will to utilize it offered quite a lot of options to the angels, and humans were, of course, sort of easy targets, and that when the angels decided to manifest themselves as humans, they could not be distinguished as such. They might have been thought to be, say, a fairer specimen or something of this sort. But in the Old Testament, whenever angels appear, they did not seem to be noted as such, but were just thought to be strangers and were treated with the hospitality accorded to strangers. But we do have, through these old texts and references in the Old Testament, about a group of angels known as the Watchers or the Watchmen, something like 200 who came to earth apparently originally to provide learning about righteous behavior and so forth. And some say also the font or the source of the beginning of knowledge amongst humankind, the descendants of Adam at any rate. These angels, according to the lore, developed a lust both for the women, the daughters of men, as it would put, and perhaps for the lifestyle that they had there. They seemed to be so superior to humans that they were just en passant rulers. Who could say no to these great figures? But as they did have this capacity to make themselves appear in kind of a humanly form, they apparently also had the possibility of mating with human females. And this was, of course, very much against God's good order. And it eventually caused him to send Michael and Gabriel to do a number on these mischievous angels and their offspring. Now, I bring this up because it is the offspring of these angels and their human wives, which were said, upon being killed, to house the spirit of demons. The angels themselves, their fathers, had angelic spirits, but the half-breed, the part angel, part human creatures were only earth spirits, so to speak, and so they were called demons. And this allegation is also made in the Bible. That into tourists they were taken, bound, and 90% of the demons also. Presumably, therefore, 10% of the demons remain on earth to cause mischief. And since we do have Christ himself allegedly throwing out a demon, I say allegedly because there are all kinds of people who want to interpret this as basically a sort of a fake out by Christ who understood that the real problem was some sort of psychological disorder, but because of the primitiveness of the people at the time, the ignorance and so forth, put the whole matter in a context which would seem plausible to them, which was demons. But the old texts themselves suggest that there were such things as demonic offspring of these angels. And their abide is here on earth because this is where they were born, just as the abide of angels is in heaven. So there you have it, and there are all sorts of allusions to this situation. And it is because of the unlikely births that were generated from this admixture and subsequent apparent mischievous generations between beasts and fowl and fish and so forth by the hands of man, presumably at the tutoring of these angels, that by the time of Noah, the earth, the old world, was getting chock full of weird creatures. So here comes the flood. But at any rate, we do mention this because the subject of demons did come up, and it may not be simply wives' tales. There may, in fact, be here on earth such things as demons, the 1/10 of the demons who were not taken and bound in Tartarus, and who are left here to run amok. So certainly humans don't need them to run amok anyhow, to be sinful and so forth. But a little suggestion, I suppose, kind of helps out that way too. But let's go forward. According to the Sefer Yetzirah's modern publisher, the book aids the development of telekinetic and telepathic powers. These powers were meant to help initiates perform feats that outwardly appeared magical. The magical Kabbalah uses various signs, incantations, by which initiates could influence or alter natural events. Now this is, again, a citation from Michael A. Hoffman II's Judaism's Strange Gods, pages 81, 82. Well, at this point in time, I'm not prepared to go and discuss the origins of these kinds of magic, the first manifestations and so forth. But we do know from the scripture that, for instance, Joseph, when he went to Egypt, confronted magicians of this type who worked for the Pharaoh. We think that probably Abraham had been exposed to this sort of knowledge himself, and exactly when it all got started, I can't say, but it's pretty interesting. And as we know, it's running full bore right now in our time, with the whole new age crowd enthusiastic about telekinesis and things of this sort, channeling and whatnot, Well, if there are demons, there's no better way for a demon to get his views across to the people than through being channeled by a new ager who supposes that he or she is dealing with some savant long dead, or at least in a physical sense. But at any rate, we have the whole 9 yards, from astrology to palm reading to tarot to could be feeling the bumps on the head. I'm not quite sure, but at any rate, I do hope that we don't see the ghastly disemboweling of dogs and chickens and so forth. I think at this point in time, serious efforts should be taken at possibly limiting the use of magic. So at that note, let's go forward. Another important opinion is that of the practical Kabbalist. They write that Tele is actually a place under the firmament of Vilon, and that it is inhabited by humanoid beings which deport themselves in holiness and purity like angels. The divine mysteries are revealed to these beings, and they have the authority to reveal these things to mortal humans. Methods are also given whereby these beings can be contacted. Now this is a citation from Michael A. Hoffman II, Judaism's Strange Gods, page 83, citing the Sefer Yetzirah, translated by Aryeh Kaplan, 1997, pages 236, 237. Well, people, I will have to admit that I am not really familiar with Tele and Vilon either. Gee, I know you're going to say, what in the world are you talking about this deep, deep subject for if you don't even know what Tele and Vilon are all about? Well, you know, fools rush in where angels dare not to tread. I take this particular place and beings to be possibly associated with the creatures that provide the savants of the New Age perhaps with their ultimate wisdom. And they in turn around and provide to us. And this would of course include Indian gurus, Bhagwans, etc. But let's go a little bit further. I know that most of you are interested in astrology, so let's get a taste of this. The book's translator states, the signs of the zodiac are associated with the 12 Hebrew lunar months. The assignment here approximates Western astrology, but is more accurate from a Kabbalistic viewpoint. Also associated with each of these 12 signs is a permutation of the name YHVH and Adoni. By meditating on these combinations, as well as the derivative of the 42-letter name, one can gain knowledge of things that will happen in designated times. One of the most important factors in astrology is the time and date of a person's birth. The Talmud thus states that there is a mazel of the hour, the time, day, and date upon which a person is born has an important influence on his destiny. Shabbat 156a. Elsewhere, the Talmud teaches that there is an angel called Layla that oversees birth. It is this angel that proclaims if the individual will be strong or weak, wise or foolish, rich or poor. Niddah 16b. Again, this is a citation from Michael A. Hoffman II's Judaism's Strange Gods, pages 82 and 83. Now, I know many of you are curious whether or not Layla announces only at Jewish births. I'm afraid that at this point in time, I can't advise you whether or not you, as a non-Jew, would have a Layla-esque pronouncement, and what that pronouncement is and how to go about determining it. I just am not quite sure at this point in time. But at any rate, it's something to dwell on, and for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing, it might be something to kind of consider, to key on the next time you go to an occult figure, to kind of put up a few bucks for additional enlightenment. But let's go forward. Barry W. Holtz, Director of Research at the Jewish Theological Seminary of America, writes, "In our century, scholarly researchers have made clear the centrality of Kabbalah to the whole of Jewish religious consciousness." Jewish professor Lawrence Fine of Indiana University describes the Zohar, the canonical text of Kabbalism, as a work of extraordinary quality, which was to exert profound influence on virtually all subsequent Jewish mystical creativity. The Zohar was studied with reverence, awe, and intensity by Jews in the most diverse communities throughout the world. This is a citation from Michael A. Hoffman, Judaism's Strange Gods, pages 83-84, citing Barry Holtz, editor, Back to the Sources. Reading the classic Jewish text, Opsite, page 26. Alan Unterman, Dictionary of Jewish Lore and Legend, Opsite, page 110. Unterman is an official of the Yeshurun Synagogue in Gatley, England. Well, I don't know why it's not more widely manifested. People would say, well, gee, you know, if there is this kind of access to para-heavenly creatures or para-divine creatures, people who, beings, we'll put it that way, who are able to impart great knowledge, understanding to humankind. Why can't this be tapped by everyone? Why isn't it? Why is it just a few people who seem to have this power? Well, there are a couple of postulations which could be made right off the reel. One, that those who have this power don't want to share it because it's quite powerful. And two, it may require the kind of intelligence and perception that is not generally found in the mass of people. Now, it's possible that both these aspects, postulations, may be interwoven into what might be called or thought of as a sort of secret society, mystery of religion sort of format, and suggestive of what might be called Gnosticism, or to have a kind of a fellow travelership with Gnosticism. Let's see if we can pursue that. The Gnostic character of this cosmogony cannot be denied. Gnostic theology was able to dominate the mainstream of Jewish religious thought. The first Gnostic is generally reputed to be Simon Magus. Now, for some time, a man named Simon had practiced sorcery in the city and amazed all the people of Samaria. He boasted that he was the power of God that is called great. Because Simon offered to pay the apostles that he might acquire the Holy Spirit, his name became the eponymous basis for the sin of simony. The terms in which Simon is said to have spoken of himself are testified by the pagan writer Celsus to have been current with the pseudo-messiahs still swarming in Phoenicia and Palestine at his time. It is of interest, though in a context far removed from ours, that in Latin surroundings Simon used the cognomen Faustus, the favored one. This in connection with his permanent cognomen, the magician. The Gnostic components of the religion of Judaism pertain to self-worship. This doctrine does not come from the Bible, which is filled with prophetic jeremiads against the Israelites for their faithlessness. According to Rabbi S.R. Hirsch's key depiction of the Jewish man, unlike the rest of mankind, the Jew alone is imbued with the metaphysical qualities necessary for fulfilling divine destiny. Jews alone possess an innate disposition toward obeying God. The Kabbalah teaches that the presence of the divine, Shekinah, in the world is exclusively due to the existence of the Jewish people. Now this is a citation once again from Michael A. Hoffman II's Judaism's Strange Gods, page 84 and 85, citing Gershom Scholem, Kabbalah, page 143, Acts 8, 9, 10, Hans Jonas, The Gnostic Religion, 1963, pages 103, 111. S. Raphael Hirsch, 19 letters, letter 12. Well, gee, I think that may be interpreted as bad news for some of you who are non-Jews who were just very hopeful that maybe Layla had made a pronouncement at your birth. I would say the chances have somewhat slackened if Rabbi Hirsch's statement is correct. The odds seem to be even longer than one might have first supposed. But take heart, there's room within the tent of Shem, perhaps for you. Whoa, that's it, folks. We're out of time again. This is Celebration. My name is John Savers. I'm your host. I appreciate your tuning in. Hope to see you again next time.